Hi, it's Amazing Alnita. In case you're wondering where's Nita now, I am actually sitting here with Ted, who happens to be, you will never guess it, what? Okay, so he's better at this than me. He's a ventriloquist. I was hoping I would say, and I'll move my mouth, and he would be like, but that's all right. Yes, so thank you, Ted, for joining me today. We are actually on the Noordam, and we're discussing his career as a ventriloquist. And actually, not only was he a ventriloquist, he also did this on the open seas.
So there you have it, 27 years at sea performing.
Oh, wow. So, okay, how do you become a ventriloquist? That is such a unique occupation.
Well, there used to be a thing. There used to be a school that you could not attend, but you would do it with sending communications back and forth, and they send you this course, and there were several really good ventriloquists that started that way.
It was a correspondence course?
Yes, Mayhair School of Ventriloquism.
Huh.
And there's Willie Tyler and Lester. Have you ever seen
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Willie Tyler started that way too.
Huh. So did they like write something and then what is the proper name for your puppet?
People call them dummies.
I didn't want to say that.
No, a lot of people don't. Dummies were ventriloquial figures or vent figures.
Oh, I like that.
A vent figure is that kind on a stick.
I like that. Ventriloquial.
Like marionettes are on strings.
Okay.
Like Howdy Doody.
Yes.
Howdy, that may have been where my fascination started, because in 1955, 6, 7, that area then, I was in the peanut gallery.
Oh.
On Howdy Doody show.
Really?
So those were marionettes. Which is different than a puppet.
Right.
And a puppet just means you have your hand in the mouth.
Okay.
That's a puppet.
Yes.
And a vent figure, you have a stick, and you control from the stick.
Vent figure. No. I like the way the words sound. Ventriloquial.
Now you're gonna have me say it wrong.
Okay, just say it one more time.
Well, you could say ventriloquist figure.
I know, but it's not as
ventriloquial.
Eloquent. There you go, ventriloquial.
Figure, a vent figure.
A vent figure.
What you would call that.
Okay.
That's your controlling things by the stick, and that's primarily what I did. Though I had an old man character that my left hand was his hand, my right hand was in his mouth.
Okay.
And it was done in with a spotlight on him. And so I'm looking at him like this.
Okay, let's bring your hands down this way a little bit, because I can't.
Oh, yeah,
there we go.
There we go. So I'm like this with his hand and his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be a spotlight on him, so I would be off.
Oh, okay.
But not really. People see you, but I would move my mouth.
You would?
Yeah, during that, yeah.
Oh, okay, so he would talk and you would talk to him.
He would do a monologue. No, he would do a monologue. I was out of the picture entirely.
Oh.
So I did work as a puppeteer too.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. A puppeteer for, wait, please tell me. Did you work for Jim Henson? No. Did you?
No, I'd met Jim Henson, but I didn't work with Jim Henson. And he wanted you to work, you had to work like 4 years doing hands before you could do a mouth and all this goofy stuff. And we were letting it rip at the high seas. We didn't want to be stuck in the studio doing hands.
Right. When you could do why do hands when you could do it all?
Do it all.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So you started off in the peanut gallery. Of the Howdy Doody show. Okay, this story just gets more interesting as we go along. That's pretty cool.
Well, I ended up getting a lot of work over the years, because I pretty much got all I needed. But I was an authority on the life of Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
Okay.
So you know who Edgar Bergen is?
Actually, I was thinking Burl Ives. That's the wrong name. I'm so sorry.
Burl Ives. No. Charlie McCarthy was a character that had a little monocle. Mortimer Snurd was
I do know him.
Character.
Yeah.
So those are two In the 30s, there was a time when they were the most popular and recognized characters in the world.
Oh,
Because
okay.
that's because they were right on the edge of television, but on the height of radio.
Okay.
I know it sounds weird, ventriloquists on the radio, but that made them number one in the world. I mean, they're oh my gosh, they had games and all kinds of things, that they were everywhere.
That's like
You
a
go
whole new
into-
world.
Yeah, it was a whole new world.
Wow.
When you went to a store, there would be Charlie McCarthy's all over. When you went to the carnival, there was Cupid dolls. You know what Cupid dolls
I
are?
do know what Cupid dolls are.
Cupid dolls, back then, before they were called Cupid dolls, they were called Chuckies.
Oh.
And that's because they were made of like a plaster.
Uh-huh.
But you do the same thing. When you win, you got the Cupid doll.
Yes.
And that would be Charlie McCarthy or Mortimer Snerd. There were Jim Beam bottles figured after them. There were
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge.
all kinds of board games and things like that.
It's like they were vent figures before vent figures were cool.
They were what kind of figures?
They were vent figures before vent figures were cool.
See, I don't know bit figures.
No,
We-
vent.
Vent, yeah.
See,
Well, no, but they were vent figures. Both of them were sticks. They had a stick and a mouth, and that's how they worked, both of them. But I mean, it was big beyond your comprehension. I mean, Charlie McCarthy is this little guy, right? He was the Grand Master of the Rose Bowl Parade.
Oh.
Things like that.
That's huge.
They were just so well known that they would be, and that's seen all over the world, because they would go to Europe, because he was Scandinavian, so they would go around Europe and pull crowds of tens of thousands of people and perform outside in squares and things in Copenhagen or wherever it might be. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So their life was so massively exposed at the time that for me, when I started doing this, so I've been out now, not working shifts since my daughter was 6, or working any of these things like TV and things. So, and I did 27 years, so we're looking almost a half century ago.
Oh, wow.
That I was doing it. So most of my audiences knew who Charlie McCarthy and Mortimer Snerd were. They all did.
So they had the reference.
So when I would do multimedia presentations, like the big screen you see in the back of the entertainers you
Yes.
see here.
Yes.
And they would watch old film clips, he did 17 full-length movies.
Oh.
So I knew, how do these puppets do that? But they were amazingly clever and funny routines. Like, one of my favorites was Mortimer and Charlie were in a runaway balloon.
Yes.
For this carnival, and W.C. Fields was in this movie, and so this balloon's going up, and it's them, up and down shaking in the balloon, and they're getting scared, and what's going on, and
Hold up.
hysterical
Hold up 1 second.
commentary.
I'm going to pause this for 1 second. I'm just going to reposition. Okay, we're back because he is making all of these grand gestures, and I think it's
Whoa.
well. Look, and it still went out. So let me make sure that. Okay, now do that again. Do that one more time.
All right, I'm gonna do it. Woo!
Oh my goodness, you're too funny.
Okay, here we
all right.
go.
Okay, so yes, and I want you to be able to see the expression. I do have a quick question, right? Are you a person that talks with your hands? Because, okay, let me tell you what happened to me. I was in Italy, right? And I kind of talk with my hands a lot. And so I was walking down the street and I'm talking to my people and I'm like talking and I'm doing this. And the man across the street, he's like, yes. And I was like, wait, no. He's like, no, yes.
The pasta fazool. Yeah, that's the Italians. They talk with their hands.
Yes. But being a ventriloquist, did you?
Well, my hands up the dummy's butt, so you're not seeing that hand,
Right. Okay, so did you consider your well, your dummy or your vent, did you consider it?
Character. Let's call them
I
characters.
like that.
That's easy.
Thank you. Did you consider your character like a friend?
Oh, absolutely.
Do they have their own personalities?
Absolutely they do. Yeah, of course. That's what it's all about is characters, characterization. That's the whole thing. So if you don't have a good character, it doesn't mean anything. People think that the ventriloquist is, oh, the guy that talks without moving his lips. Well, that doesn't mean anything really, and it's not even really that important. Edgar Bergen, the most famous of all time, moved his lips quite a bit.
Yeah.
But when he started, he did radio and became world famous in radio before television. Then, I mean, he was like, 38 times on the Ed Sullivan Show or some darn thing, you know.
Wow.
So, but he didn't really care for TV as much because then he'd have to make up and worry about moving his lips and all these things that he didn't feel were important.
Okay.
So character is everything.
So you said earlier, and I think I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this, there were ventriloquists that were on radio shows. How does that work?
Just what we're talking about.
Really?
Character. If you have a character, people in the 30s, like 1938, they would, each Sunday night, they would gather around the radios to listen to this show. Mm-hmm. They had different time slots, and sometimes it was Saturdays, but for many years. And they just wanted to hear these characters, and each one they knew, like Charlie was really, he was a smart ass kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Mortimer was really slow, but really loving.
Okay.
But you had people that were some of the very biggest in their day want to be on that show. Like
Gotcha.
Marilyn Monroe would be on, W.C. Fields, and these characters that wanted to interact. So Charlie always had a relationship with the ladies.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So they wanted, the Jane Russell or whoever it is, they want to come on and want to have that business going with Charlie McCarthy because he was the greatest humorist of his day. So that made these women all the more famous if they could be on air with Charlie McCarthy.
Okay, so it's just like you said, like we're having a conversation and they're interacting with the...
We're moving the thing here. Woo! There we go.
And they're interacting with... Okay, so we're just rolling with this. This is wonderful. This is wonderful.
Here's how much practice we had.
Zero. Yes. But so they interacted with the puppet, and basically, although the audience could not see the characters, they got the richness of the conversation.
Just as much, or every bit as much as on television later on, or live.
Okay.
So you got live, you got TV, you got radio.
Yes.
And to be able to move through that transition was something else, because a lot of people get good at one thing, but they can't. And time was moving, because there was a thing, live entertainment was moving around the U.S. in a thing called Chautauqua. Are you familiar with Chautauqua?
I do not know.
Chautauqua were tented venues, almost like we have more recently when you were a kid, the Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Okay.
And they would set up these tents, and there were traveling shows.
Okay.
And they would travel with those shows, and live entertainment was groomed in Chautauqua.
Oh.
And people would come from all over. When Chautauqua was in town, they filled it up, and you'd have stars like W.C. Fields and Edgar Bergen come from the Chautauqua era.
Oh, okay. So that's how they became such great showmen.
Yeah, they're all developing craft all the time.
Okay, and so how did you develop your craft?
Excuse me. Well, same kind of way. I wanted to see the world.
Okay.
and I was teaching school.
Oh.
And my last year of teaching school, I was making 10,700
10
for the
7.
year, 10,700
Oh.
for the year,
Oh.
and trying to live in Aspen, Colorado.
Oh,
Well,
that
that
doesn't
was
work.
not working so well. So I had this art form I was fiddling with, and I said, you know, I'm gonna take this. I think I can make this happen. So I went to like ventriloquist conventions. They have conventions, you know. So there'll be, if there's 1,000 people at the convention, there's really 2,000 or more that are for
Just walking around
the
talking.
picture. You know, you got the picture, and there's everybody
Yes.
with their some character they've got, yeah. And then you have when that would be, it would be like Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It might
Yes.
be, and Friday, Saturday had evening shows with the pros, you know.
Okay.
And I first saw the pros work, and as much as I was taken back and in awe a certain way, I also said, I can do that.
Were you a drama teacher by chance?
No, but I did theater.
Okay. Okay.
And then later, while in Aspen, with my characters, we had a show called Uncle Fergie and Friends, and this was a very talented man that the co-star of the show was my character, not me.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got you.
So that was Dudley.
Dudley.
And Dudley, he is one of the, you talk about characters, is weird because he was really gifted, but as many people like Jonathan Winters or different people, Red Skelton, some
Yes.
of those guys are incredibly talented, but they're a little nuts too, you know?
Yes.
And Fergie and my character, they had we went live sometimes 4 hours a day
Really?
back then, yeah, because we were at the beginning of cable.
Yes. Yes.
So cable was just starting, and it's kind of like a Wayne's World. We were, you know, Wayne's World, they were in the garage.
Yes.
We were doing that just 6 months before Wayne's World. And so
Oh.
like Wayne's World was a thing that was exactly like us. You know,
Huh.
where there's two goofballs going online in early television.
Yes.
You know, not early television, but early cable.
Yes. Yes.
And they're kind of no holes barred. It was silly and fun, but he had a special relationship with my character.
Okay.
You know, he won't see this broadcast, so I can tell you. He had one time when I had to leave because I felt the show, we were showing sometimes in WGN in Chicago, and we were like right on the cusp of going the next level, but he had a little problem with the drugs.
Oh.
And so I said, you know, I can't do it anymore unless you quit, you know, and that wasn't going to happen at the time. So we quit the show, but there was a time after I had left the show and he was doing the show, he went into the studio one night and locked himself in the studio and turned everything on and went live on air.
Oh.
And he wasn't going to leave on air. I get this call at like 2 a.m. or some damn thing, and they say, Ferg's on television, turn it on. He wants Dudley. He will not come out of there until he can be with Dudley right now.
Wow.
So that's how, like, their relationship was as tight as my relationship with the character.
Wow. Okay.
And so that was a really weird thing. And I took him into the studio and we talked him down with Dudley.
Wow. So, like you said, they do have their own personality.
Woo!
So
Yeah.
after that,
They're real people. They're real people.
if they're real people, are you like an observer of the conversation, or are you like a translator of the conversation, or how does that work?
Oh, I've never been asked that. See, the character is, it's a character, something inside you.
Yes.
So when that character is alive, yeah, I'm pretty much, I kind of take a back seat. So the way it worked, like you and I are on screen now. Now
Yes.
we'd be opposite sides, but I would be here.
Yes.
Dudley would be here, and Ferg would be there.
Right.
So I got the headsets on, so that I'm hearing all that's going down.
Oh.
But it's really those two. I really have very little to do with it. I'm just back there yucking it up and having a good time enjoying watching them.
So you think? So okay.
This is getting a little creepy, isn't
No,
it?
no, 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 no. So do you think that you were the star, or was Dudley the star?
Oh, Dudley was a star.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you have him created? Did you like go to somebody and say, okay, this is what I want Dudley to look like, or?
So you ask good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that he used to just build characters. He later became a very successful ventriloquist, but he started as a maker of ventriloquial figures.
Ah.
So, yes, we developed the character on a sketch pad.
Okay.
You know, it looks like a portrait.
Yeah.
Now the interesting thing was that when we put together the character, what he's going to look like,
Yes.
I thought he was going to be more of kind of like a drunk.
Okay.
You know, he wore a floppy hat, had big cheeks, a big nose, and he was bigger than life. And this will be the spooky stuff people talk about. And I put him in my hands, and once he was in my hand, he wasn't that at all.
Yep.
He was more of a fun, hip kind of guy.
Okay.
But he wasn't a drunk, and he wasn't a hard guy. He was a fun guy.
Yes.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was to be the case until I picked him up. And interesting enough, like Edgar Bergen had an exact copy of Charlie made.
Okay.
Anyone in this room, which is filling, we went from zero to filling here,
Okay. Yes.
would look at them and say they're the same.
Right.
They wouldn't be able to tell the two apart. But he picked up that character and he said, no good.
Ah.
He said, because he called him the Sweet Charlie.
Okay.
But Charlie was hand carved in 1922, and in the 30s, he's the most popular character in the world, perhaps. And he's been exposed, been through a lot. He needed another one.
Right. But
But
it
he
didn't.
put it in his hands and had a different personality.
It didn't feel right. Okay. Well, okay, so I write. And sometimes as a writer, you assume that you're the person that's in charge of whatever is being written, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes sense. You have the pen, you have the paper, you have the words. But sometimes when I'm writing, I'm like, okay, well, this is what I'm writing. And it refuses to go there. It's like, no. And I'm like, but wait a
Go
second. It's like,
somewhere
no.
else.
So that's what it sounds like with your characters and everything.
Yeah, I mean, with the given characters, they just have their own thing.
Okay, well, it sounds like your characters took you around the world.
They did. I went to entertain over 50 countries.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay. If people call them dummies, the dummies are not so dumb because they took you a lot of places.
They took me a lot of places, yeah. And like people say the ships, well, did you work with Holland America? And it's like, I worked on, we think it was like 55 ships. So to work 55 ships, you're working on
All of them.
all of them.
Wow. Well, you said that you started when Carnival had just
One ship.
One ship.
The Mardi Gras. And now they
Oh, I
have
know the Mardi
over
Gras.
150 ships. Now they have a new Mardi Gras that just came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Let me
But
see.
those are old. All those ships are scrap now. None of them even exist.
Oh,
Yeah, they're all scrap iron.
I want to say, did I go? I think I may have gone on the Mardi Gras. That's crazy.
There's a new Mardi Gras now.
Yeah, well, the Mardi Gras is a party, that's for sure.
That's it.
Okay, so what was it like working on a ship? A character, huh?
Working on ships. Well, there's two types of working on ships.
Okay.
One where in the old days, like, we did everything.
Okay.
We were the entertainment. We sold the bingo.
Oh.
We ran the bingo. We ran the horse racing. We sent the people out on the tours. We did the shopping talks.
Oh, yeah. I remember the shop talk.
And it was they don't. Well,
They don't
I
really
don't think
do
there's
that.
a shopping expert here, but they used to have that, and they have it in the Caribbean probably.
Yeah.
Where you go in and people want to be directed to where if they buy a tennis bracelet and a diamond falls out, they want it warranted. So
Yes.
so you tell them what stores to go to,
Okay.
and all that kind of thing. But back in the old days, we were making a percentage of all that.
Oh, okay.
So we were in the business everywhere. You're in the bingo business. You're in the retail business. You're in the excursion business. You know, some guy says, "Oh, I've got an 80-foot catamaran. I can take 65 people a week out, and we can go on 2-hour tours or 3-hour tours. And while you're here, we can go out twice.
Oh.
And we'll give them rum drinks and blah blah blah, and they'll pay, $75 each, and off they go."
Yes.
You couldn't do that
Cha-ching,
today.
cha-ching,
You
cha-ching.
couldn't do that today. There's all the liability and stuff. And yeah, so we're just working out a deal with the guy that owns the catamaran.
Right, right.
Now everything's obviously out of front offices. But remember,
Yeah.
you're looking at it almost a half century ago. Things were different.
Yes, things were. Well, what was your most memorable, or some of your most memorable experiences on the ship? Okay, as a passenger, because you're a passenger on this ship, you were an employee on the other ship. How was that different?
Totally. But not. All right, we said earlier, there's two ways of doing it. One, in the old days, where you were everything.
Yeah.
Then near the end, when my daughter was born and everything, I was what they call a fly act or an all-star act. Like Amy Gong is here, or Bradley. It was Bradley.
Yeah, the piano player.
Piano
Yes.
player. He was terrific.
Yes.
And there you are a passenger when you're here, but you're going to perform.
Okay.
Before that, we didn't even used to have them. There's people. Like, you don't have a crew card. When you have a crew card, that means you're down eating in crew mess.
Right.
And then you're, below waterline, as they
Yeah.
say, and it's a totally different life. And that's probably a little too, especially being on a ship. Well, you don't want to get too into what life is there versus here, but they're much closer now than they used to be.
Closer to the water or closer to
The people.
Oh, to the people.
And
Okay.
their life being less different
then a passenger.
than a passenger.
Okay, got you. That
But
makes
still
sense.
very-
There's a difference. Okay. Got you. So what were some, if Dudley was the star, and was Dudley your only character?
No, I had other characters too.
Okay, wait. I have to digress then. How did they travel? In suitcase? Or
I carry the heads. I carry the heads because the heads are irreplaceable. Like, for me to get another Dudley might take me 3 years.
Really?
because you have to find somebody that's got time to do it, and there's only a few people, literally in the country, a handful that can make the quality of character that you want.
Okay. Okay.
And they got to make space for you, and it's probably they can make a character in 6 months.
Okay.
So you don't let the heads go anywhere
So
without you.
they detach? The head detaches
Oh
from
yeah,
the
yeah,
body?
it detaches, it comes right off, and then the stick is out. It's a stick with a head on it, and then you put the stick into the body,
Okay.
and then the bodies have all my clothes and everything, you know.
So they
Yeah.
were like your suitcase.
They're in the trunk. Yeah, they're in my clothes are part of their. The bodies are part of my clothes and what I need to take when I'm going to check.
Huh.
But you don't check the heads. I have a head box, and everything goes in the head
Did
box.
people ever get curious about what was in the head box?
Yeah, customs and immigration, and then sometimes you're in a rush or it's 110 degrees and you're down around the equator somewhere and you've got to go through the business, you know, checking the luggage, and you're hot and you need to move on, and they're over there playing with the darn thing, you know, going, look at this, you know. Yeah.
Do you still have Dudley?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever bring Dudley out?
Not as much as I should. You know, I was doing fundraisers and kind of altruistic work right to COVID, and then COVID had no audiences. You know, there were no audiences. You couldn't have audiences during COVID, and so that shut live entertainment down, including the ships,
Yeah.
for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So now audiences are back, and I've just been doing other things now. So, but I am, and when I would do the fundraisers, I would host them and be the MC for the night, and I knew literally hundreds of acts, like the ones you're seeing fly in. And so I would call friends to come on out to Aspen and do a show for multiple sclerosis or whatever. My wife has MS, so
My sister
I
had
started
MS.
off doing shows to raise money for multiple sclerosis.
Wow. You know, I don't know. This idea just bubbled up in me. I feel like a resurgence of Dudley, like him doing shows about recreating yourself.
I have no objections to. I can't go like last year. Not interesting to you guys out there, but I had. I had 10 back fusions about 2 years ago, and part of it, you having to schlep your stuff around. You know, and it's hard. You get on the ship, and even though you've got people helping you all the time, it's really a young man's game. You know, you get pretty beat up out there, moving your stuff around one hotel to the next, and when you're young, it's fun.
Right.
Know? And then you hit a time later where it's just a little too tough, you know?
Well, maybe, I don't know. I'm telling you, I just feel Dudley calling to me, saying that there might be some way, like before, they had it on radio, where they were doing these things. They were doing ventriloquism on radio. Maybe there's a place for Dudley on Zoom calls.
Yeah, there may be. Right now, it hasn't been a focus, and I'm taking a little time. My wife likes to travel on the ships.
Yes.
Because she used to come out when I was working, you know, like when I was with one company for 9 years.
Yes.
I was 3 months on, 6 weeks off, 3 months on, 6 weeks off.
Right.
Because you can't do much more than about 3 months.
Right.
Your voice can't do it. I did end up having a laser surgery to take nodes off my cords. You're on microphones all day long.
Right.
Every day. You know, you're calling off the tours, you're emceeing the shows, you have your own shows, you got, everything. everything. Horse racing, we have a 2 and a 6 and a 5.
Oh my
and you're doing it
goodness.
with dice, and the
Yes.
horses are racing, and people are betting their money, and
I know it's getting loud in here. Let me see. I just have a couple of more quick questions.
yeah, because nobody wants to listen to this stuff very long.
Oh no, this is so interesting. I'm like, we have been talking for 35 minutes already. Oh my goodness. It does not feel like it. No wonder this room
I
filled
know,
up.
the place is filled up. We were the only people here. Look behind. We can see our people back there.
Yes, there are people here. So, what is the thing? Okay, oftentimes when you see people, when I've seen ventriloquists in the past, when I've seen them have their character, and you see their mouths moving, I was like, well, they're not doing a very good job because I can see their mouth moving. Does that indicate an inferior ventriloquist? It's all about just the way they do
It
it.
all depends. You shouldn't see too much.
Okay.
But again, development of character. So if they have that, but the chances are, if you see them on television or you see them on a ship, they're skilled enough.
Okay.
That, you shouldn't be going, that guy moved his lips, he sucks. It's a matter of, did he make you laugh?
There you go. Okay.
If he made you laugh, he did his job.
That's the bigger question.
Oh,
We got to look beyond the
stuff,
surface.
I don't even think about it. I don't even think about the lips.
Got you. Okay.
Never. I mean, I never think about it.
Do you have to do special things to keep your hands limber in order to?
No, but see my wrists?
Yeah.
This hand had to be operated on, and then the surgeon was going, what is this, do you think? And, I spent hundreds of hours on stage doing this,
These are work hazards, but you didn't know that. If you
I didn't know that was going to hurt me, no.
if you knew in the beginning, would you still have done it?
Oh, yeah, you don't think anything about that. It's like a baseball player gets a sore shoulder, but he didn't know he's going to get that sore shoulder, and he doesn't think about it. He just plays ball.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden he can't play ball anymore.
Well, okay. Would you say ventriloquism is a dying art?
No, well, you got Terry Fader now. I mean, I think he's completed his second $100 million gig in Las Vegas.
$100 million?
Yeah, and he was the winner of America's Got Talent.
Oh.
And then you have Jeff Dunham, who doesn't do that, but he privately promotes himself, but goes to place, and he's not making those dollars, but no, the poor guy's probably more in the $30 million range.
30 million? Okay, well, I need a character. Well, what do you want people to know, or what is your most, okay, two questions and then we'll wrap it up. What is your most memorable moment as a ventriloquist or with Dudley and then what do you want people to know about ventriloquism or Dudley? Or about you?
In the old days, like when I was on an NCL ship, and they had a very interesting thing in Olympic year, and they had all of the ships that come into Port of Miami competing like in the Olympics, and there they have swimming pool, they have soccer fields, so they competed in all these different sports for like 4 months.
Oh.
And I was flown in. That ship, though, the ship we're talking about is 14,000 tons.
Okay.
This ship you're on here is 109,000 tons.
Oh.
So that's the difference in size of the ship.
Right.
So I went onto that ship, and they had just won the Olympics.
Oh, of the ships.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not of that one ship, of all the ships.
Oh.
All the ships here, everywhere.
Okay.
The West Coast, everywhere.
Okay.
It was amazing. And they had a big gold cup, and as soon as thing shut down after dinner. They closed the whole top of the ship to passengers.
Okay.
And it was all, not the show lounge and all that was strictly for crew. And this was the year that they did the We Are the World.
Oh, yeah.
Right? With
Yes.
Michael Jackson and all that.
Yes.
And we had 50 different nationalities on that ship.
Okay.
And they were all crying, and they're all, at one point, they're drinking champagne out of this cup and passing it around, the captain's doing this stuff. And everybody held hands and put their arms around each other and sang We Are the World.
Oh, wow.
And everybody's crying, and it was just, I just happened to chance upon that.
Wow.
I was a young guy at the time in my 20s, and it was just really powerful. Really powerful.
We could use a moment like that now.
And times back then, even looking at race and everything else was different 50 years ago than it is now. So to see people from 50 different countries hugging and doing something together that was a victory.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was crying. Oh my God. This is amazing. You can't share it with anybody other than the people you're with there.
Yes.
Because you can never tell anyone about it again. I mean, I'm telling you, but...
It's not the same.
Oh, it was not... Oh, it was so powerful, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got to experience that moment.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad I got to do this podcast. I don't even know what a podcast is.
Well, you know what? You didn't have to know what it was in order to be awesome, because that is exactly what you were. I thank you, Ted, for taking the time to talk with me, to talk with my audience. And be beautiful, be brilliant, be brave, be you. And hey, maybe even consider being a ventriloquist.
Be Dudley.
Be Dudley. All righty, y'all take care. And don't forget to shine your light, sugar. Bye. Hi, it's Amazing Alnita, and if you enjoyed that video, please subscribe so you can keep up with my journeys, not just here, wherever I go and experience new things, so you can experience them with me. Thank you. Don't forget to shine your light, sugar. Bye.